In depth about the 2011 super outbreak. Day 1, April 25. The Storm Prediction Center had a moderate risk for severe before the day. On the first day of this historic tornado outbreak had 50 tornadoes. At 5:07 a.m. local time, an EF3 started north of Hot Springs, Arkansas and had 1 fatality and 20 injuries. At night, another EF3 dropped down east of Oak Grove, Kentucky and had 0 fatalities and 0 injuries. At 5:48 local time, a EF2 dropped down near North Point, Arkansas. The tornado barely missed a direct hit to Vilonia, Arkansas. Over its 68-mile path, it took 4 lives, the deadliest tornado of this day. Day 2, April 26. Day 2 got a high risk by the Storm Prediction Center and a 30% tornado risk. The first tornadoes of the day dropped down at around 1 p.m. local time. As the first tornadoes happened around central Texas, a long-track EF3 hit central Mississippi and had 25 injuries. An EF3 hit Cordova, Alabama and had 20 injuries. An EF3 hit Lexington, Mississippi. Along its 23-mile-long path, it no fatalities and no injuries. There were also 2 more EF3 tornadoes that had no injuries and no fatalities. One hit Searcy Farms, Alabama and the other one hit Coaling, Alabama. An EF2 hit Sapa and Cumberland, Mississippi and had 1 fatality. An EF2 hit Huntsville, Alabama and had 1 fatality. An EF1 hit Dutton, Alabama and took 1 life. In total, there was 112 tornadoes. Day 3, April 27. A high risk was issued over Alabama, Mississippi and southern Tennessee, and there was also a 45% risk for significant EF2+ tornadoes over Alabama and Mississippi. Philadelphia, Mississippi, EF5. The tornado first dropped down north of Philadelphia at around 2:30 p.m. local time. The small tornado went northeast while intensifying. Soon a tornado emergency was issued for Neshoba County. It began having EF5 damage in Neshoba. The tornado emergency was expanded to Kemper County as it continued to have EF5 damage. The tornado weakened until the tornado went back into the sky near Macedonia, Mississippi. The tornado had 3 fatalities and 6 injuries. Raleigh, Rose Hill, Mississippi, EF4. The tornado first dropped down near Raleigh, Mississippi. As it moved northeast, it crossed Interstate 59 before making its way into Alabama before dying off around Uniontown, Alabama. Along its 122-mile-long path, it took 7 lives and injured 17. Smithville, Mississippi, EF5. The tornado began around Flynn, Mississippi. As it moved towards Smithville, it rapidly intensified until it reached EF5 intensity while it was hitting the north side of the town. It decreased in intensity to an EF1 after crossing into Alabama before intensifying again to a EF3 before dying off near Piggy, Alabama. The tornado had 23 fatalities and 137 injuries. Sayreville, Ealine, Alabama, EF3. The tornado started southwest of Tishobe, Alabama. Moving towards the town, it grew to EF2 intensity once it scraped the town. It continued going northeast, nearly hitting Thornhill, Alabama. It grew to EF3 intensity near Sayreville. It directly hit Ealine, Alabama, then fizzled out near Marvell, Alabama. The tornado killed 7 people and injured 50 over a 72-mile-long path. Cordova, Alabama, EF4. The tornado started near Carrollton, moving northeast. It would fluctuate between EF0 to EF3 intensity. It hit Cordova at EF3 intensity before growing into a EF4 near Sipsey and Campbellville. It went near Sulphur Springs at EF1 strength as the tornado would continue having EF1 to EF3 damage before it fizzled out near Red Hill, Alabama. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, EF4. The tornado began near Snotty, moving northeast, rapidly intensifying, moving towards the heart of Tuscaloosa, one of the biggest cities in Alabama, at high-end EF4 intensity. Once the tornado first hit the city, Alabama's lead meteorologist James Spann famously said, "All you can do is pray for those people," as the tornado ripped through the city. The tornado continued its path going through some other suburbs of Tuscaloosa. The tornado continued hitting large cities, hitting suburbs of Birmingham at high-end EF4 strength before dying off near Pawnee Heights. The tornado had winds of up to 190 miles an hour, causing $2.4 billion in damage, which was the most ever at the time. The tornado also had 64 fatalities and over 1,500 injuries. Hackleburg Phil Campbell EF5. The tornado dropped down near Hamilton, Alabama, moving northeast. It grew very fast, having EF4 damage once it crossed US 43. It intensified once and it hit Hackleburg. It was an EF5. After that it hit Phil Campbell at an EF5. The tornado weakened to an EF3 before intensifying back to a EF4, then the tornado died off near Huntland, Tennessee. The tornado is the second deadliest in Alabama history and the deadliest of this outbreak, having 72 fatalities and 145 injuries. This tornado is also the seventh costliest tornado ever, causing $1.3 billion in damages. Cullman Arab, Alabama EF4. The tornado began near Trimble, moving northeast. The tornado continued at EF1 intensity before entering Cullman, where the tornado intensified to an EF4. The multi-vortex tornado continued having EF1 to EF4 intensity before nearly hitting Arab, Alabama. The tornado continued on its path until it fizzled out near Cushion. It had winds of 190 miles an hour and had 5 fatalities and 48 injuries. Jordan, Alabama EF4. The tornado started southwest of Dexter, Alabama, moving northeast towards the town. The tornado got very close to the town at EF2 intensity. The tornado continued on its path, growing in intensity to an EF3 near Faulkner, Alabama. The tornado weakened near Jordan, then grew to an EF4 as it crossed Lake Martin. The tornado weakened, then died off near Sykes, Alabama. The tornado had 7 fatalities and 30 injuries. Piedmont, Alabama EF4. A small tornado formed near Cotton Ridge, Alabama. The tornado caused EF0 damage as it crossed Interstate 59 and hit Argo, Alabama. It grew to a EF1 north of Odenville. It rapidly intensified to an EF4 while crossing Henry Lake. It continued fluctuating between EF2 to EF4 intensity. The tornado hit Reesburg, then died near Kingston, Georgia. The tornado had 22 fatalities and 85 injuries. Rainsville, Sylvania EF5. At 6:19 p.m. local time, a tornado formed over Lakeview, Alabama. It intensified to EF3 strength once it hit Fife, Alabama. The tornado rapidly intensified to a EF5 when it hit Rainsville. The tornado continued on its path and hit High Point, Alabama. The tornado weakened, then died out near Rising Fawn, Georgia. The tornado had 25 fatalities over a 37-mile-long path. Shiloh EF4. At 6 p.m. local time, a tornado dropped down east of the Tennessee River, moving northeast. The tornado intensified to an EF4 as it passed Pisgah. The tornado continued to intensify into a high-end EF4 while it passed Flat Rock. The multi-vortex tornado weakened until it dissipated by Park City, Georgia. The tornado had 14 fatalities and 50 injuries. Ringgold, Georgia EF4. The tornado began west of Pleasant Grove, moving northeast. It intensified to an EF2 once it hit Ringgold, Georgia. The tornado continued to intensify when it hit Appleton, Tennessee at EF3 strength. The tornado continued to intensify and it was at EF4 strength when the tornado hit Cleveland, Tennessee. The tornado began to weaken before it dissipated near Piney Grove, Tennessee. Stevenson, Bridgeport EF4. The tornado began northwest of Fackler. The tornado was producing EF3 damage while it hit Pinder Hill. The tornado started producing EF4 damage as it crossed the Tennessee state line. The tornado began to weaken until it dissipated near Bennett Lake. Smoky Mountains EF4. The tornado formed on the Great Smoky Mountains traveling northwest. The tornado crossed the Tellico Reservoir on its path. Next it crossed Happy Valley. Then the tornado dissipated near Kinzell Springs, Tennessee. The tornado had 0 injuries and 0 fatalities, and mostly tree damage was reported. Please like and subscribe.